Got to figure a new way. Yeah. Every time I head over, there's a traffic jam. No matter which way I go. Anyway,
Mr. Chairman, you're all set.
we're all set.
Good afternoon. Okay. Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm now going to call the Wednesday, February 16th, 2022 meeting of the Norfolk County Commissioners into session. Thank you. I'm going to read the executive order on remote participation. On Thursday, March 12, 2020, Governor Charles Baker issued an order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20. That order was effective immediately until it is rescinded or the state of emergency is terminated. On February 12, 2022, by action of the legislature, the order was continued until July 15th of 2022. So we are in remote session as well as live here in Dedham. We have a full board here today. I'm going to call the roll. Commissioner Stady,
Present.
Commissioner Collins.
Present.
The chairman is present. We have a quorum. I'm going to ask everyone to stand. Join me in saluting the flag. I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have several department heads with us on the Zoom, and also present is John Wallace, the business manager of our agricultural school. Thank you. We have a busy agenda today. I'm going to ask if there's no objection that we go to our opera award for today. Number 9, which is a approval of the applications from the town of Walpole for some federal money. Do I have any objection?
No. No objection.
Okay, we're going to go right to item number 9. Again, this is an application from the town of Walpole submitted by Jody Cuneo, who I see is on the broadcast with us, as well as Jim Johnson, the town administrator. Welcome, folks.
Hi, how are you?
We're good today, and we always have a lot of give and take with our people from Walpole, so this is a happy moment we're having here. I'm going to go to Director Cronin, who's going to explain their application, and it's approved and ready to go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon. Hello, Jim. Hello, Jody. Walpole has submitted 4 ARPA applications for your consideration this afternoon. The first one totals $775,000. It's for bathroom facilities at the South Walpole Community Athletic Complex that fits under the economic development category of the ARPA grant. The second one totals $450,000. That particular grant is also an infrastructure water grant. It's related to the Winter Street Sewer Extension Project. The third grant totals $280,000. That particular project is for the June Street drainage repair. It is under infrastructure water sewer repair. And then finally, the fourth grant totals $500,000. That is a bridge rehabilitation design at East and Elm Street in Walpole. That is an infrastructure water sewer improvement plan. The total amount of all 4 is $2,005,000 even. So before you today are these recommended approved ARPA applications. The first for Walpole, and I'll yield to Mr. Chairman if you'd like to hear from Walpole at this time on their applications that I just read.
Okay, Jim and Jody, any comment on this?
No, I just like to thank the commissioners and John and Bill Buckley. You guys have been great to work with. The firms you've hired to work with us have been really good to work with. They've gone out of their way to walk us through this process. I'm appreciative of that. And I know the select board is happy to get these projects up and going. And we're ready to go. Bids are out on the street. So I'm glad we have funding in place. Jody, anything?
Nope, I think you've covered everything. Thank you.
Yep.
Just want to thank the board. I really appreciate it.
Jim, we recognize that Walpole has a 5th application currently pending. I'll be probably trying to reach out to you this afternoon, and I have a quick question regarding that item before it moves on to pending phase 2, okay?
Okay, that's great with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, commissioners, any questions or comments?
If I could,
I have one after you.
Mr.
Go ahead,
Chairman.
Commissioner Stady.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is the motion we're going to need for one, or do we break them into four parts?
You can do one award,
So
2 million.
the total amount for Walpole will be $2,005,000?
$5.
Or
5,000.
5,000.
5,000? That's all I want to make sure I had. the number.
Okay.
So 2,005,000. Okay. Second question, through you, Mr. Chairman, to maybe Mr. Johnson or someone. I noticed that one of the ARPA grants was for a bridge repair work. Any idea when these project or that one in particular might be starting?
I believe that was for the East and Elm design.
Right.
Is that one?
Right. You know,
We're planning on getting that work bid out in the street within the next, probably less than 6 months. I'd like to have it on the street before summer.
Okay, that's great. Okay, that's all I have. That's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Glad we can help you out.
I'm good.
Thank you
Thank you.
very much.
I have a quick question of Director Cronin. $2,005,000 is what portion of the total money allocated to the town of Walpole?
Yeah.
I haven't got my slip. in front of me.
Yeah, I know.
A little bit less than 50%, I think. I think our
I was gonna
total
say,
allocation is 4.7 or 4.9 million.
So 40% maybe?
He's correct. They're at 4.7, so this is a little less than half.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
all right, so there'll be more.
yeah. That's good.
We'll be back.
Okay,
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Chairman, if you
everything's
want.
in order. I'm ready to go. I
Sure.
think we're ready to go.
All right.
Bill Buckley's gonna drive the check to Walpole.
I'll take
Okay,
it as a
don't
small
drop
bill.
the check now. I'll move, Mr. Chairman, on behalf of the commissioners, that we award to the town of Walpole, Massachusetts, an ARPA grant in the total amount of $2,005,000. Said grant to be broken down to the four categories as submitted and approved by our administrators and Director Cronin.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
It is a vote, unanimous, of course. Thank you very much, folks. We'll
Congratulations.
see you
See you
again.
guys. Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank
Mr. Commissioner.
you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Bill. Take care.
Take it easy.
Number 3, minutes of the open session meeting of February 9th, 2022.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? It
Aye.
is a vote. Number 4, public comment. Each week at our meetings, we have a session for public comment. Director Cronin, have you heard from anyone?
Mr. Chairman, I believe we have no public comment, but there was one item that I'd like to bring up at the end of the meeting that's relative to a old business item, so we'll take it up then, but no other
Without a
public
public
comment.
comment. Okay. Anyone else on the public comment out there? Number 5, appointments. We have none. Old business, we're going to take up at the end of the meeting.
Yes, that.
No one has any
particular
objections,
item
we'll
is
move that to the
unforeseen.
end of the meeting.
Yep.
Number 7 is personnel matters for consideration.
None at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, that's a rare occasion, but that's good. No personnel matters today.
No, sir.
Number 8, Commissioner Stady, payroll and expense warrants for approval.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'll move the following item for our warrant list of February 16th. 22-33 payroll of the county, $139,478.76. So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor?
Aye.
It is a vote. Next.
Second expense for the county, 02-03-22 in the amount of $72,055.86. So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor? Aye. It is a vote. Next.
Next, Mr. Chairman, expense for the school of 22-08A, the amount of $15,317. So
Second.
moved.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
It is a vote.
Two more. For the school expense, 22-08B, the amount of $1,300.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
It is a vote.
I almost like saying ditto, but it's the same thing. Last one, 22-08C, expense for the school, $1,300.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
It is a vote. That
John, any
completes-
reason, John, why, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, I'm
Any
sorry.
reason why those couldn't be combined? They're like the same exact thing. I mean,
Now
no.
they broke it out.
All right, okay, whatever.
It'll be one wire.
That's it. I get it.
That concludes the payroll and expense warrants for this week. Number 8 was Number 9 was our opera awards. We did that for the town of Walpole. Number 10, correspondence from the town of Stoughton relative to a formal petition to discontinue a portion of a Norfolk County layout on Page Street. This refers to memos from the town of Stoughton and back and forth between the county surveyor and the county director. I'm going to turn this over to Pat Higgins, who's with us, for a brief explanation. I think everything is in order. Patrick?
Hi, Chairman. Hi, Commissioners and Director Cronin. So we've been working with the town of Stoughton town engineer, and they have a dead end section of Page Street that they want to request to have the commissioners consider discontinuing. They formally discontinued a small triangular piece that was next to the county layout at their fall town meeting, special town meeting in December, and included in the special town meeting, they also authorized the select board to petition the county commissioners. So they have, if you can see this with the thanks, Bill. That's the Page Street basically is the county layout, variable width from 1872. Goes from the Avon Stoughton town line on the eastern side, and then ends abruptly at the Amvest Memorial Highway Route 24, 1955 and 56 layout on the westerly end, and that's the petition that's being submitted. So I would respectfully request that if the commissioners want to act on that today, that they duly know that the petition has been received in the minutes, and then I need to work with county council and do coordinations before we schedule a hearing.
Okay, so we're where we need to be today. We can do this vote if everything's in order.
Yes.
Okay. Commissioners, any comments?
So what, are we voting to grant the petition to?
No, just
Go
receive
to the
it.
next level.
Say it again?
Vote to receive the request. from
Thank you.
Stoughton. That's it.
Right, so I would make the motion to vote to receive the request from the town of Stoughton to discontinue a portion of the Norfolk layout dated October 22, 1872,
It wasn't
as
there.
further described and attached.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any other comments or questions while we're all together here with our county engineer, Patrick Higgins?
Just a quick note, this has been going on for a while. I know the Stoughton delegate to our advisory board
Right.
has spoke to us about this, which is amazing.
The date of this portion of it that I see is September of 21. It got to us.
Yeah.
So
So,
we're going right forward.
Right, it's good.
Where we want to be, but there's no reason to not go forward today,
no,
right?
no, that's
Patrick?
what I'm saying.
Okay,
That's all you need for us right now, right, Patrick?
Yes, Commissioner.
okay, motion made and seconded. Relative to a formal petition to petition from the town of Stoughton to discontinue a portion of the Norfolk County layout of Page Street in the town of Stoughton. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, this is a continuing matter. We'll keep it on the calendar until it's resolved.
Quick question.
Commissioner Davey.
Well, I have, but I could really quick. Patrick, oh, you left. He already left.
No, I'm here.
Oh,
No, he's there.
any update perhaps on that Canton project that they had asked you to do?
The one on the drainage easement.
Yes, yeah, the drainage, yes, yeah.
We've done, I think about 90 to 95% of the field work on that project for the location of the drain easement and the topography. We're doing the calculations and drafting in the office at this time. And then when I have a resolution, I'll be able to stake the easement in the field and then show the depiction of the drainage that was installed in relationship to the easement that was granted.
Excellent. Okay, great work. Thank you. Thank you.
On York Street.
Where's York Street? That's right.
Yep, okay.
Thank you. Yep.
Okay, this concludes that matter for this time. Next item is 11 on our agenda. Revisitation of the vacation carryover policy. I'm going to call on Director Cronin for an explanation of this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Well, the last several weeks, the commissioners have taken action to address the vacation carryover matter. As many of you may remember, this board, this commission took action in 2021 to lay out some guidelines associated with the use of time associated with vacation use. One of the items that motivates this action is the county's employee handbook, which directs that employees shall not carry forward more than 10 days, non-union personnel, from 1 year to the next. So before you is a proposed motion to direct employees associated with this rule to use their available time that they've been notified of by June 30th with the expectation they can carry over no more than 10 days. We've proposed a motion through your actions today, if you so choose, to memorialize this and clear up any ambiguity from prior votes.
How many work days does that leave?
Approximately 92. In your packet, you should have received a spreadsheet which shows the amount of time to lose before the end of June. The individuals highlighted in black are the relevant ones that are non-union.
Commissioners, any comments? I do have a couple of comments, but I'm going to save mine towards the end.
Yeah.
I'll jump in.
Did you get a spreadsheet?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
So, everyone appreciates everything that everyone's done in working through the pandemic. I think that's pretty straightforward. We couldn't have done it without everybody working so hard. And there were different times when people had to work above and beyond and extra hours and weekends and all. And so we did our best to push out the timeline for the use for the vacation days. One of the things that's the county commissioners don't act in a vacuum. And we get great direction from the finance committee and from the advisory board regarding this issue about vacation carryover. And at one point, a few years ago, we had a pretty significant vacation backlog to the point where we did some buyouts. And the advisory board went out of their minds. They were really upset about it. They thought it was poor business, and they asked us to not let this happen again. They don't want to be in that situation again. And if someone were to leave, they have to burn up their vacation time before you can replace them. And it's a very precarious place for the county to be when they can't fill a job that's needed. So I understand that different people have worked above and beyond, and I don't want to punish anyone that's worked above and beyond. But we have 92 days to burn up the vacation time. And I know that some people have quite a bit of days, but I would urge that we stay with the program for now. If there was an exceptional reason, if COVID reared its ugly head again, or if someone had a family medical emergency or something that came up, I think we could consider extraordinary issues. But for the most part, I'd like to stay with the timeline if we could. But it just appears to me to be the right thing to do and to stick with the plan and to be consistent with what we've discussed with the finance committee in the past. And at the same time, I'm not trying to create hardship for anybody because everyone has sacrificed it, and I think we all appreciate that. But the commissioners don't operate in a vacuum. We don't. We actually, we report to the advisory board, and they're the ones that gave us guidance.
Commissioner Stady.
Yeah, if I may, with all due respect to my colleague as well, and I recognize exactly the points he's saying, and I concur with most of them. My problem is, Mr. Chairman, my problem is the personnel board book that we keep referring to. It's outdated. We've mentioned, I think, several months ago that we need to look at that book and then we need to re-examine it and revive it. And we haven't done that. Through no fault of anybody. We're all very busy. But I'm saying, if we're referencing a book that to me is slightly outdated and using that as our standard, perhaps that's not fair to our employees or to us. I have a problem when I looked at it and I was thinking about it and talking to John. Is 10 days really enough for someone who's worked and given time to our county, perhaps 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? There might be something to think about where, like in some people, in some organizations, where the longer you work, the more you're allowed to carry over. And it doesn't seem unfair that you have a graded system where someone who's given years of service is allowed to carry maybe 15 or even 20. And not everybody, but it's tied into the number of years you have. To just say a blanket, you got 10 and that's it. I don't know if that's entirely fair. I just don't see it as being fair. And I know there's people who we told them to use their days. I remember that. I think I was on the advisory board and the warning was use up your days, but sometimes they can't. And sometimes they can't. And I'm looking at the list here quickly, and some of the people are key people. And if we're telling them to use it, what happens to our operation of our county? They're going to be banging out 30 days, 40 days. I mean, then what happens, So I wonder if there's some kind of common ground we can find, some kind of compromise that can be done. My problem is the book. I think the book really needs to be looked at and examined, and that should be, one of our top priorities moving. We're looking at negotiations. This is our session to do it. Maybe that's part of our job to look at that. Okay. I mean, I understand. I totally respect what Commissioner Collins is saying, because I remember that message from the advisory board and the finance committee about holding the line. But I also look at this list of, you can't sometimes help separate the person from the thing. And you look at it and you're like, this is a huge amount. And is it totally fair? And what's the effect on us? If we tell them, take 30 days off, 40 days off, and what's the operation of the department going to be like? So that's my concern.
Okay. This comes up, not every meeting, but every third meeting. And I can only testify for the last 6 years. However, I understand both sides of the argument, and this came up even before COVID, so on all due respect. And then to add COVID to it, it's another one. But at the end of the tunnel, we still have no succession planning or no financial planning, because how are you going to pay if 3 of the people in a 10-man department come in and go out at the same time? That's a tremendous financial impact that we have to somehow either budget for or plan for. And at some point, we have to dig our heels in. Now, the county personnel book, and I'm going to refer to the director if he knows what point we're at. We made a valiant attempt a couple of years ago to rewrite it, and I remember though it was written, and I think I'm correct, but I stand corrected if I'm not. Without exaggerating, it was 1977 language that was in there.
87.
87?
The core document was accepted in 1987.
87,
It has been
okay.
amended numerous times by commissioners over the years. For not this specific item, but other areas of the handbook have been updated. So we've got multiple updates against that 1987 document.
Okay, and if someone were, and you've only been here for 6 months, if someone were to ask you, how come we don't have the book? What is your answer, John? I'm trying to make.
Why we don't have the book?
Yeah, why don't we have an updated book?
Oh, I was told when I started that, you're right, the attempts were made, I believe, under former county director Frank Haggerty, perhaps.
Well, I'm sure, and it probably was carried over to Mike
And,
Mullen too.
and I, again, don't want to.
No, that's fine, I'm just trying to prove a
But I
point.
believe I heard that
Okay.
it ran into some interpretation issues through union negotiations that were not fully completed. I'm not sure if they were at the schools or the registry, but that's where it kind of landed. So it was not finished, but we have a pretty good document that updated at that time, I believe it was in 2018, that original document.
Okay, now, there are some people that live by this, and then some that, for whatever reason, don't live by it. Let's not talk about why they don't or why they do. How fair is it to the people that live by it as opposed to the people that don't? If all of a sudden we're gonna owe, I don't know, I look at these days, and I don't look at the financial figure, but the bottom line here, I think, is dollars, and I'm sure was not here when the advisory board took that stance that they did, but I heard all about it and I made myself aware of it. It was a financial issue more than anything else. That's what it is in the end. So, I mean, I'm trying to be fair to everyone, and I'm trying to get my arms around this. I'd love to go into this vacation. I'd love to go into this budget session, which we're right on the precipice of going into, and have some sort of understanding. And that's the reason I think it's on here today is we're trying to get our arms around it. So, I mean, it isn't that I don't understand both sides of the issue. I do. But each time we do this, there seems to be something else that comes up later. I'm told that we've been questioned about our last motion that was taken last May.
There was some ambiguity that led to this discussion today, so we proposed a motion which will close that ambiguity and set us on a course to embrace, as Commissioner Stady said, the existing handbook guidelines.
Well, what's different from last May to today?
So the interpretation that some have is that back in May, the commissioners voted to direct employees to liquidate 25 days of their unused vacation, 15 before December, 10 before June. But there was some interpretation that that was the end of the bargain, that there was no intention to pull the balance of time back into line with the handbook. In other words, to get it to no more than 10 days. And so that's what today's motion would do. It would complete the intent we believe that the commissioners had after listening to the meeting last year.
See the difference there? I remember that. So it was, we told them basically trying to cut it back. This is basically saying the limit's 10. And so you've got people that might have a lot more.
Right, so
And
you
so
would
it's
have no more than 10 to carry over, and then on July 1st, your bank gets refreshed with your eligible vacation accrual. So if you're a 4-week per year individual, you'll have 10 days carry forward plus the new 4 weeks as of July 1st.
Right. But let's say, so if someone has, and I'm not going to pick any person out, someone has, say, 40 days available, correct?
Mhm.
The most they could carry over would be 10.
Correct.
They would lose 30.
Use or
use
lose.
Use
correct.
or lose, right? That's what I'm saying. So 30 days is a lot of days. That's like 5-day week, that's 6 weeks. And they said, if they're key people, I'm not sure I want them out 6 weeks, you know. I just, you know, but is that may I have a clarification question, Mr. Chairman? Is the available column inclusive of any vacation they got attributed to them this year as well?
Yes.
Okay. So this column I'm reading is how many days they have available. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, Joe DiOria, can I just clarify
Absolutely, Joe.
one matter on this? The old handbook doesn't say 10 days, it says 1 year. And there are, for Mr. Stady, there are different people with different amount of days. It starts at 10 for new employees and it goes to 15 days, then 20, then 25. So someone like myself, I get 25 days a year. So what the policy in the handbook states is that 1 year course. So someone with 15 days normally would then be able to carry 15 days. And what happened was in the past, there were people that were carrying more than 15 days into the different years. So I just wanted to let you know that there are different circumstances.
Okay, so
Joe, if I could ask you to clarify what section you're reading, and are you referring to the accrual or the use-lose component of the handbook, Joe?
It's the use lose.
We're referring to the county's Rule 3 of Section C. Are you referring to that?
Yeah, I don't have it in front of me. This is from memory.
Okay. This is per the Human Resources Director, which provided that the vacation leave of the county personnel rules, Rule 3 of the county states that unless otherwise defined by collective bargaining or some other agreement, no employee of the county shall have a balance of more than 10 vacation days. That's the rule that we're referring to. I think you may be conflating the rule with accrual, which is a time-based vacation method.
I don't think so, but I mean, I'll check that, but I just want to let you know.
Yeah, we're taking it right out of the handbook.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, can I go back to that question?
Sure.
Joe, if you could clarify, so what you're saying is the way you're saying in the personnel book, the number of years, there is a graded policy, like I was suggesting almost. The more
Yes.
years you have, the more vacation time you get.
Exactly.
But hold it, but also in return, you get to buy that amount back? Or I'm sorry, like carry over? Carry
Yes. I mean, from what I understand what the handbook it said the original handbook. Now, I don't know if there was an amendment made over the last few years, but the original handbook was 1 year's worth. So 1 year's worth was different for every person.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
that is not the way Rule 3 of Section C reads currently, Joe.
we should get that cleared up then. You know,
I'd love to get it cleared up, but
Hmm.
no,
I mean, you got one person saying one thing and another.
Well, he was going from memory too.
Yeah. Do we have?
Would you like me to ask the Human Resources Director to come in and
Actual
discuss this?
personnel
Yeah,
book? Do
can
we
I
have
have
a
a second?
book?
Can we just take a second and I'll go grab the book?
absolutely.
Thank you.
The director's going to get his copy of the book, but anyone else who wants to weigh in on this? Okay,
Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
Thank you. How you doing, John?
it might be John's copy, but I don't think so. The school is not on this, correct? It's
Yeah.
not on the one we're working on. All right.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine, that's fine. Don't go there.
This issue came up several years ago, though,
It
correct?
comes up all the time.
You know,
Comes
wasn't it? It was Commissioner, I believe Commissioner Gillis on the board when it happened. And it was a buyout or
Yes.
something was
Yes.
done back then.
Yes.
We had it was a big buyout and the finance committee went out of their mind.
Right.
And actually, the whole advisory board did it.
Yeah, I kind of remember that. And so,
But it was so large, it was like a year, it was like a
yeah.
half a year of benefits.
Where'd they get the money to buy them out?
That was just it. They had to take it out of cash.
Yeah,
Okay, we're back on the record here.
They said, don't come back with us again.
okay, I do remember that.
So I've consulted with the Human Resources Director. With your permission, we'll take some time, Mr. Commissioner, to look at what Mr. Daurier is referring to in
Yeah.
the original version of the handbook. There are subsequent agreements and terms that other commissioners have agreed to. The Human Resources Director was referring to collective bargaining agreements and other guidelines. So before we make any action today, allow us, with the information Mr. Daurier shared with us, to clarify exactly what point within this that we're maybe making a decision on. So I'll
Okay.
have a report for you next week.
Okay. All right,
Okay, so we're gonna take item number
we'll hold this up.
11.
Under
Table,
Under advisement, yeah.
yeah, table under.
I need a motion to take it under advisement
Yeah,
to
so
further study.
so
Second,
Okay, on item number 11, vacation carryover revisitation. The visitation continues, or the revisitation. I'm going to entertain a motion to carry it over, hopefully till next week.
he made the motion, I already seconded it.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor of the carryover?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
All right.
Number 12, report on the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. Director Cronin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a quick update, two updates on this item. Over the last week, the county has worked with Clifton Larson to develop the dashboard associated with the data or information relative to the aggregated awards that we've been providing, where the funds are going, by which community, how much. This kind of a dashboard gives diagnostic information to the user groups. Clifton Larson has begun modeling it. They shared with me a draft of what it will look like. We're going to have outward-facing information available to the public so they can see how Norfolk County is progressing on awards by category, as I indicated. And each individual community will have a similar outward-facing piece so that they can see the progress they're making on their grants. Commissioner Stady and I, as you know, met with Randolph last week, and it was a desire by the town manager in that case to understand what are other communities doing. Well, this kind of public information will give the external users an idea of what other communities are using their opera funds for and so forth. So this diagnostic tool should hopefully be online, and it will be incremental. We will be looking for something that immediately immerses or allows the reader, I should say, to look at how the county's using its money, and then will develop over time as we get more sophisticated. Number two, the county had a phone call with the other counties. We meet and talk every 2 weeks. We had 3 counties on the call this week. There was much discussion about the revenue loss matter that, as you know, Norfolk County has been dealing with. So we shared our updates with them. They all have a copy of the letter that you folks approved and signed and sent out to our congressional delegation last week. We discussed the impact it's having on some of the applications. Again, Norfolk County is very, very active with ARPA right now in comparison to the other counties. So they were very curious to see where a lot of the ARPA revenue loss money concerns were emanating from and what impact it may have on their communities. So we shared some information. It was a 1-hour call sponsored by Treasurer O'Brien, who continues to be a solid ally for our programs. And one other footnote, I believe Commissioner Collins indicated he was looking at a conflict on March 30th, which was the proposed date for the multi-county meeting.
That's a Wednesday, it's a Wednesday luncheon. That's when we meet. So I was proposing a different day.
Okay.
Closing on Friday?
Oh,
Yeah, maybe the
I
following.
thought,
Friday.
I figured we weren't gonna meet. I thought we were not gonna meet that day or something. Because that's
I
the
don't believe
day.
we are now. I think we're looking for a Friday. Am I correct?
Well, if,
You are.
yeah, I mean, if you really want to do it that day, we just can't meet here. That's
I'd
all.
rather,
Well, were we? I thought Barnstable.
We're planning to be hosted by Barnstable.
Barnstable.
Location to be
Right.
determined.
Right,
Yeah.
and that would be the 30th.
and we're suggesting a Friday,
Right.
but maybe they can't. I don't.
So it depends on Barnstable. Either that or we go
Barnstable
forward and have our meeting on Thursday.
in Bristol and Norfolk, yeah, it depends.
So one date we were looking at was April 1st, which is a Friday. Probably down in the Upper Cape area.
That'd be nice.
So if that date works for you folks, I'll have time. Okay, great.
Any day, as long as I know ahead of time, but Fridays are very good for me.
Done. Okay.
Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, but.
Yeah, that works.
That is my full report on ARPA this week. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, the second part of the opera update deals with administrative cost discussion. There's a detailed memo here about a compensation proposal relative to people working on the American Rescue Plan Act. I've been back and forth and it's well put together, and I am going to open this up for discussion today. I think we're going to make a slight change, but this is open for everyone. It is basically a memo that gives the grant background, where we are today, the people who have been voting, who have been most involved with this, which are, of course, the assistant director, the director of, needless to say, he is the author of this memo, and assistant county treasurer Joe DeLoria. So we're talking about, in my mind, 3 people, not 2, but this memo talks about 3, but only highlights 2. And I'm going to turn this over for any discussion with anyone now. I agree with it. I think it's terrifically thought out. And if you look at how we match up with everyone else, other counties have spent a lot more money on administration than we have, and that's their business, and they're doing a good job too, but I don't think they're doing.
So for the people that don't have the memo, if the county director could just give a quick synopsis as to how much the other counties are paying in administration, that will give us some help.
Great, that's in there. Go ahead. I'm going to turn this over to Director Cronin. I know he's a little, well, timid, that's not the word. Go ahead, Director Cronin.
Timid.
Sheepish, no.
Thank you, sir. Just the same. So as the commissioners understand, when they accepted this $137 million grant last summer, there was an intention to apply certain administrative costs to the grant. And at that time, we notified our host, not our host, but our communities that we work with, that Norfolk County was intending to withhold 3% of the total for administrative costs and projects. And one of the things that this committee, these commissioners made very clear was they wanted to put the communities first. So we've not had this discussion to date because the intention was stand up the portal, educate the communities on what the available funds would be used for, and make the portal work for the communities. And I think we've achieved that in the last several months since the portal's been open. As you know, we've awarded over $5 million to over half a dozen communities with several others in the queue. So we are meeting the expectation of running the program And it was time to look inward at the administrative costs. And as Commissioner Shea just indicated, we had done a survey of how the other 3 counties are funding their respective programs. And very briefly, all of them are drawing some form of administrative costs from their grant, which is allowable. In the case of Plymouth County, the treasurer and his assistant are drawing salaries from the county operating budget, but the salaries are being offset on the back end through a treasurer's draw from the ARPA grant. Bristol County went out and hired a coordinator to work with the treasurer to administer the program. And the cost of that contract, all inclusive, as you can see, is $125,000. Barnstable County, they are currently discussing the overall implementation of the program, but they did promote their Director of Regional Services to the role as Assistant Director to oversee ARPA. And finally, Dukes is very, very early in their process. They have not launched their program. We don't have any information from them at this time. In order to inform the commissioners of the justification for this request, your packet includes both a brief budget of how we are forming our ARPA budget for administrative purposes as well as projects. And I also included copies of allowable statements from Clifton Larson, our auditor, Mintz Levin, our lawyer, and also emails from the advisory board and finance committee chair people affirming that any such correction relative to salaries would not be within their purview at this time because it's paid for with federal funds. They respectfully ask the commissioners to deal with this as their authority deems appropriate. So that's the background, Commissioner Collins. The rest of it, as Commissioner Shea indicated, is a statement requesting salary corrections for the individuals during the life of the grant for their involvement with this particular program between now and the end of 2026.
So this is definitely I wanted to ask my first
Go
question.
ahead, Commissioner.
I thought it said the proposal was for the amount of $10,000 a year through 12/30/24.
Right, one year at a time.
I thought he just said 26.
The grant ends, if I can call your attention
That's
to
a
the top,
Let's clarify.
top of page 2.
Okay.
Oh, you know what we're doing?
Oh.
We're looking at the Mintz Levin.
So-
Chris Rogers.
So ARPA has 2 different dates, Commissioner Stady. Operationally, the program can award funds through the end of 2024. But the grant itself allows for use and disbursement of funds through 26 to clean up any capital projects that are wrapping up. So there are 2 different phases, but the grant itself will go through the 2026.
So I'm
Okay,
trying to
okay.
clarify a potential motion. So I'll stand corrected. It just said
Okay,
the proposal would be to approve $10,000 a year from retro, it looks like, 1/29/22 to 12/30/24. So should that be 12/30/26?
Yes,
Okay.
because the memo on the top of page 26 indicates the 26.
All right.
Yeah.
Couple of thoughts I had, unless you don't want to talk here. now.
no, go ahead.
You all set?
I'm good.
I think I've had the pleasure of working with John directly on some of these, Mr. Chairman, and talking to, we've been to 2 towns now. I know at least 2. We got one more to go. Camp we visited,
Yep.
Randolph we visited. And in personal experience, John, and the staff are doing an excellent job, and they're a great reflection on us. Great reflection. And there's no question this is additional work. There's no question that this is an additional task beyond what you were hired to do. Let's put it this way. No one anticipated that. So I'm a big believer. I'm a firm believer that when you have a job and then something is asked of you to go a little beyond, you should be looked at in terms of being fair. There's fairness. Now, you can look at this any way you want. We can break down the number of hours and all kind of nonsense. The biggest thing, I think, is that you've got counties that are hiring full-time people to administer it. And looking at that amount, 120,000, this is a paltry sum compared to that.
Plus benefits.
Am I right? So
I agree.
so to me, I think to give the assistant county treasurer, the county director, and assistant county director that stipend, I think it's money well spent. It's a good, they're doing a nice job. We're getting high praise. I know we are. High praise from towns. Every time we give a grant out, you hear how well it's working. And it's a good reflection on us, good reflection on Norfolk County. So I don't have an issue on it. The only issue I had, actually, I told John, and I mean this, a little bit with humor, but I said, don't forget, you wrote up about some projects. And I said, don't forget, we have a few others we want to talk about that we want to, and there's plenty, I'm sure there'll be money, sample money. Other
Right,
programs.
just to clarify, that was an excellent point Commissioner stated, if I may, Commissioner Shea. That, the list were the county projects that we were funding under the 0.5%.
Okay.
And the administrative piece can cover programmatic grants
Right.
if the commission so chooses. In fact, all of the money is one pot.
And this will still
Treated
leave
that way.
ample money. This is not gonna break the well dry.
Not at all.
That's in there.
It is
This is good,
designed,
because
it is designed to last over the
I'm
next
sure we
4
have
or
some
5
projects
years.
ahead of us as we go move forward as a group. So, no, I've got no problem. I support it 100%.
Is that a motion?
I'd so move that.
Yeah, I got one more quick, before a motion, we're gonna amend it, I think, just to be sure. If you look at the memo here from, relative to the, and John breaks it out, it's to Chris Rogers. It delineates the figures and what would be left if we left it at that figure. There's also a letter here, some communication to the advisory board so that they've been advised. This is a prerogative of the commissioners, and we will be doubly sure that they
Do we need
concur.
that? We need advisory board approval?
No,
No,
Not on this,
No,
no?
we
no,
check-
we
we
let
check.
them, know we're contemplating it.
Right, right.
I don't want to,
Yeah. No problem.
The finance committee and the advisory board chair both came back and said, this doesn't have, advisory board review.
I didn't think so.
so
I didn't think so, but it's courtesy.
I reached out to
That's fine.
Yeah.
our council, both
Matt Pitt.
both found, no, Michelle McNulty and Scott Lopez, both found the lack of any guidance from general law within chapter 34, 35 relative to salaries and federal grants. Certainly anything dealing with the salary on the operational side falls within the purview of the advisory board. That's the operational budget cycle and so forth. But Scott specifically said to be transparent and open, offered the opportunity to the advisory board / finance committee to take this matter into their realm if they want. And in both cases, the chairman of the finance committee and the chairwoman of the finance committee, the chairman of the advisory board said, no, thank you. Their copy of their email is in your email. They
Okay.
determined because it's federal grant, it's under the purview of the commissioners.
Would the stipend need to be broken into payments, like monthly or one payment?
No,
Or
the intention
How
would
does
be
that
it's a regular and recurring salary, so it would be part of their weekly paychecks.
with the paycheck? Okay, good, good. All right,
Okay.
And the model, like any
That's
other expense associated with the grant, is open for any future modification or changes.
Well, it just,
As the commissioners seem fit.
before we take this vote, I'd like to make a suggestion that in the county budget, which will be coming out for next year, when you visit these three positions, normal compensation, well, regular compensation, which this probably is, but somehow I'd like to just have an asterisk there that it includes the $10,000 over on such a date. Because in 5 years, someone may say, how did this start? I mean, it should be a paper trail here, and there will be, but you know how it goes.
right. But
And then
then
we show the difference.
we can show the revenue coming in
That's
to offset that,
that's
right? Right. Yeah, I'm fine with that. So I would say, Mr. Chairman, my motion would then be to approve
Just if I could make a quick statement, I'm sorry to interrupt Commissioner Stady.
right.
For those listening, I purposely avoided any discussion of my personal position. I don't want to be seen as self-dealing, so.
Do we need to
The purpose of
amend
this
his
exercise-
proposal to include the county director,
I just
all
wanted
three,
to
and just
make that
take the
clear.
three?
I read it as it's there. I had three.
I know it's there.
My motion was going to include a stipend in the amount of $10,000 per year for the period of time of 1/29/22 through 12/30/26, which would be the end of the opera program. And said stipend would be awarded to and paid to the assistant county treasurer, the county director, and the assistant county director as part of their weekly compensation.
And I think,
Is that proper?
I hear what you said. I think you said 1/29/22. I think you meant 1/1/22. We're going retroactive to.
He's referring to an email that I had written originally to, was that Chris Rogers?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was when we were.
Remember I asked
when
you,
the
I'll
item
give
was-
it on in here.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
I'll take that as a friendly motion to
What was
amend
the
it.
date?
1/1, how about 1/1/22 to 12/30/26? And
Actually, I don't think we should have an end date at this point, because the grant will end when the grant ends. We have
Okay, wait
prepared a
for-
motion, Mr. Chair, Mr.
where is it?
Chairman,
I don't
stating,
have that motion, but Peter,
it's right there on your left arm.
are you comfortable with that motion, Peter? Is it?
Yeah, I'm fine with
based
that
on what
motion.
Dick's saying, is it reflected there?
Why can't we have an end date?
Because one of the things that the retirement board indicated was that it has to be regular and recurring. So if there's an end date, it would suggest that it would have an impact on pensionable benefits.
All right, I'll withdraw my motion.
All right.
All right, I'll let
If-
Peter make.
If you would, I knew
Peter, you make the
we
motion.
had
I
a
don't know.
conversation with them based
Striking
on
out.
what other counties have did.
Okay, so
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to implement a stipend of $10,000 annually, effective 1/1/22 to the positions of Joseph Dioria, the Assistant County Treasurer, William Buckley, the Assistant County Director, and John Cronin, County Director, for regular and recurring work over and above and distinct from normal job duties related to the administration of the Norfolk County American Rescue Plan Act program, with no specific end date listed.
So, go ahead, Commissioner Stady.
I got a problem. I'm sorry. I don't.
That's
Go
okay. That's, you can amend it all you want.
I mean, no, it's not. You're giving someone $10,000 annually, and that's it. Now it's not.
From the
There's
grant.
no end date. So are we
It has to be, it has to be money that comes from the grant.
right, but it doesn't say that.
Well,
We just-
actually,
we just-
you're
And I've no-
right, the motion
aside
doesn't
from
say
the
that.
people, we've just given everybody $10,000 raise,
But,
and it's going to be part of their salary now.
wait a minute. It
I wanted
doesn't-
to make it part of the opera program.
Okay, so why don't you, so you have it right there, so just
Right.
amend it up, go for it.
Wait a minute, before, Dick, if you don't mind, Commissioner Stady, before you do that, in John's memo, there's some verbiage here that talks about keeping separate records about how much time is spent on,
Correct. To be
On opera.
compliant
I
per
think that might-
guidance of Mintz 11, I believe.
that's
The
correct.
weekly payroll that you see will be tracking the hours that any individual approved under this proposal would be working towards the grant. So we'll have records that will demonstrate how the expenses associated with the grant were expended.
No, I assume in looking at that language that it means if you don't do it,
Mhm.
you don't get the compensation.
Right,
when it
that's-
ends.
Right.
But if you want to tie it up a little tighter than that, that's fine.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, oh, okay, I'm satisfied. I get it. I get the intent and I understand. I'll live.
Well, yeah,
If we're done with opera in 2024, there's no extra stipend in 25 and 26.
correct.
Understand?
Yeah.
It's just, it's tied into opera. I want to make sure it's clear that
Right.
this is tied into the
It's not only tied into ARPA, it comes from the ARPA administration money.
money. Okay,
Correct.
all right. Okay, I'll second that motion.
Okay. On the motion, any other comments? We understand the motion, commissioners. Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
All right.
Aye, it is 3-0. This concludes the matter of opera administration costs for today until 2026. Thank you very much.
Or until we stop the program, yes.
We're going to adopt it.
Yeah.
Number
We don't need to
14,
revote that every year. This motion will just carry itself
Correct.
and then die itself.
unless
correct.
Mintz 11 tells us we need to, or Mintz, if that's what their name is.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
14, report of the county director.
If I could go back to number 13, Mr. Chairman.
Number 13, I'm sorry. What am I missing?
Report on
COVID response. That's an important one today.
Commissioners, as some of you may be aware, the Department of Public Health, the state took action yesterday to change the mask requirements associated with indoor use. They are now recommending effective February 15th, a fully vaccinated individual should wear a mask indoors if you have a weakened immune system, or if you're at increased risk for severe disease because of your age or underlying medical condition, or if someone in your household has a weakened immune deficient system and is at risk for severe disease or is unvaccinated. Consequently, I would ask the commissioners to consider lifting the mandatory mask wearing policy that Norfolk County's had in place, I believe, since December 21st, and make it an advisory for any individuals who are fully vaccinated. They may wear a mask indoors, or they must wear a mask indoors if they are unvaccinated.
Discussion, any comments, commissioners? will we be able to notify everyone in a timely manner? And
As before, I'll draft a memo, have it laminated and posted so that visitors coming into our building will understand the standards needed, but for,
Do you want to wait till the first meeting in March?
Well, the state did it today.
Did they do it?
They did it actually
Wow.
they did it yesterday.
They did.
Right.
yeah, that was the memo.
So what effective date are you looking at?
Effective today upon your vote.
Really? I'm okay with it.
I'm ready too. I
Yeah.
don't care. about
And by the way, I did speak to the staff here as well as the treasurer's office. They're all fine with that proposal. We have a couple of folks that will prefer to wear their mask from time to time, and I think that's prudent.
The only thing I would just say, with caution, is that still, I have to admit, when the room gets crowded and we have an awful large crowd here, you get a little concerned when you're in a,
Yeah.
I mean, a little, but other times, so,
Well, we're gonna
The
make
people.
masks available and still allow people.
yeah.
I mean, you also discuss it with everyone at this level, right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
I know, I thought there was, just help me out. Was there any advisory about when there's congregations of people exceeding 10 or 20 in a small area where mass might be stressed? Is there anything like that?
That's a great question. I will tell you they did go into detail on certain locations.
I thought
For
so.
example, on public and private transportation, you should mask up. Similarly, if you work in a healthcare facility, a congregate care facility, an emergency shelter, a house of correction, the jail, correctional facility, a healthcare day service or programs operated, licensed, certified, regulated, and funded by the Executive Office of Human Services, and finally, home healthcare workers should all mask up. Those are the guidance items. And then, of course, they go into exemptions from the face covering requirements, including children under 5 years.
Dick, that was a really good point. And I have to tell you, when this room fills up, it goes against my sense of what is normal,
Mhm.
and at the same time, we have to factor in the additional issues. Like if we were to say, if you have so many people in a room, except that the school, if it follows the guidelines from the state, will be removing mask wearing in the classroom and how many kids are in the classroom. So to be consistent, I think we should just,
But I mean, I mean respectfully.
Yeah.
Your classroom is a little bit longer, you're gonna spread it.
right,
And I know they can spread the
Right.
desk out. We saw it last week when there's a large
With a
amount
lot
of
of
people
people
in
in there,
the
yeah.
hallway. It gets a little bit, as far as health, I'm thinking, it's gonna be careful, that's all. I think you leave it optional. If people want to wear a mask, they wear a mask, they don't have to do it. So, we'll leave it like that, that's
Okay.
fine.
would that be your motion?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine. Yeah, I'd move it,
All right,
effective today.
all right, I will second the motion.
On the motion to amend our mask policy
Consistent with the state.
Right,
to be consistent with the
as we
state,
have done, right?
that, read it one more time, Director.
Sure.
Immediate.
I'm by Craig Byrne. Effective February 15th, 2022, a fully vaccinated individual should wear a mask indoors if you have a weakened immune system or if you are at increased risk for severe disease because of your age or an underlying medical condition, or if someone in your household has a weakened immune system, is at risk for severe disease, or is unvaccinated. Otherwise, you may mask up if it's your preference.
Right,
So that's
So
your
it's no
motion.
longer
Dick?
yeah, that's my motion.
All right, so that's Commissioner Stady's motion. I'll second the motion.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
All right,
Aye, it is unanimous. Thank you.
all right. I'm going for it.
Just like
There we
that.
go.
Number 15,
Our masks are off.
report of the county director.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a quick note, earlier this week, I had my monthly senior management meeting with the Assistant Director and the Human Resources Director. We touched on a lot of different areas, including human resource matters. I'd like to alert you that the new Assistant Superintendent for the golf course will start on February 28th. The other individual that Facilities, Human Resources and I interviewed is in background for custodian position. I believe that's the Quincy slot.
Temporary.
Yep.
Temporary.
And we're waiting for him to come out of background. As a note, I think you touched on this earlier, the governor signed a bill earlier this week, a supplemental that extends the remote meeting capabilities
Read it, I
until
read it
July.
correctly, I believe, yeah.
Yeah.
And I just want to draw attention to some conversations I've had with the chairwoman of the Finance Committee as we approach the upcoming schedule starting next Wednesday with the Engineering Department budget. The Finance Committee wishes to join you for the 3 meetings on the 23rd, the 2nd of March, and the 9th of March to listen in and hear the presentation of the budgets by the department heads. We went back and forth about the most optimal way that they can collect their information. There seemed to be a consensus that they'd like the opportunity to join you virtually and ask the department heads questions and enjoy the space of communication rather than waiting until everything's done and then kind of collecting information from virtual meetings.
Does that mean it has to be posted as a joint meeting?
It does.
Okay.
So I believe that's their intention. I just want to alert you that they may be posting for those 3 meetings starting next week.
Now, the problem with that is that it's our meeting. Now, if the county finance committee calls a meeting, we almost have to, I think we have to go into recess of some sort, and they have to open up their meeting, and then they take their attendance, and they go through the whole thing. And I thought it got kind of cumbersome last year. I really did. I thought some of the meetings were very protracted, because you've got now, what, 8 or 9 finance committee people and the commissioners, 12 people asking questions. It takes a little longer. I mean, to me, I don't have a problem with them listening in. That's great. I think it'd be great for them listening in and, taking part, but,
I believe your point was heard from at least one member of the advisory board, but he said it was a lot of work, but he thought it was worth it. That was Chairman Rear. He did confirm what you said, Commissioner
oh, it's
State. and it's
amazing.
To
It's
be
just,
a fair amount of work.
it was.
How many members of the advisory board finance committee are there?
I believe it's 6.
The 6.
Well,
We
we're
heard from three.
trying to change it a little. We're trying to open it up as much as we can to be
Yeah.
transparent, and we are, and this is a big year. I don't know. I think we almost gonna try and wade through it. It is tough. I don't disagree. And it gets crazy. We learn trying to have the school board meetings and our meetings at the same time.
Right.
Sometimes it's tough, but I think it's necessary sometimes. I mean, I'm amenable to whatever you want, but I don't think we can have 2 sets of meetings because the budget session is gonna be long and it's gonna be hard, we're gonna try to stick to the calendar, I'll tell you that.
Well, maybe a suggestion, so technically, when you set it up, maybe what we do is in terms of our order of business, when it comes to the budget, let's get to that and open up our meeting, have them open up their meeting, and then we're doing it together, rather than, just to kind of maybe make it go a little.
Well, let me ask you
Maybe we could
this.
take the budget first.
Well,
Yeah, one of the early-
That's my point. Should we take
Yeah.
it first or second? Last?
I would take it first, so it's
Yeah.
at a set time and everybody's.
And then they don't sit through the rest of the meeting?
Right.
Right, and then,
Okay,
And then
I'll do anything to make it
That's not
ready.
like that.
and once the budget's done, then they can
I
just.
got you,
go
Bill.
on to the. Yeah.
We have a suggestion or comment from Assistant Director Buckley. Go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chair, if you recall, we had some difficulty with scheduling that last year, so it is highly prescribed. You have to post together, you have to take the finance committee portion first. You then have to make sure that both boards vote and take roll calls, do the joint business, and then they hop off and then continue on with your meeting. So the posting is very prescribed, and we want to be very clear on how we do it. So it would,
Okay.
we couldn't have them kind of
All right. what's your
concurrent,
plan
starting and
next
ending.
week?
Yeah, so it shouldn't be that much extra time. It would just be
Let's
right.
warm up next week with the engineering and put them first. How does that sound, commissioners? And then we'll go from there.
Great.
Again, engineering's not the school or the registry, but.
No, I'm trying to think of what's best for them too, and I'm thinking again.
Well, they might.
I'm thinking, Mr. Chairman, I'm thinking, I've got no problem at all with them listening in and joining us as just representatives of the town. Have us run our budget, have us go through the questions. They can ask questions, of the budget, and then they may want to also revisit those department heads, unless they don't intend to do that. They're trying to.
But I hear what you're saying, Dick, but what they're saying is there may be more than a quorum of the finance committee listening in.
Oh,
And if there's more than a quorum of the finance committee listening in, they have to be listed
That's
for a
right.
joint meeting.
Okay,
They may not even ask any questions.
right, okay.
But this way,
Right. And it might be
we're prescribing with the open meeting law.
Okay, yeah, because the open meeting law, okay, I see. Yeah.
But they, you know what, the engineering
Right.
department, we know that one's gonna go simple.
Yeah.
They're not asking for any more money, it's gonna be very simple. They probably want to ask one question the whole time.
Yeah. Okay, all
But if-
right, let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
I would suggest, if we could put it up earlier, it would be better.
Yeah, we'll start at one.
Start it, maybe after a
So
couple.
we're gonna have Patrick and the engineering department on at 1 next week after we
After we do.
take a
couple
roll
of
call.
minutes. Yeah, roll call.
I mean, I don't expect the advisory board to sit through the minutes, public comment, unless they want.
Yeah.
Some of them do anyway, but you know,
I go right into it.
Yeah,
right.
all right,
Okay,
give it a shot.
let's give it a try. That's a good word.
The last item on my report, Mr. Chairman, is relative to the labor issue from last week. We had members of a collective bargaining unit come in to request bargaining on pandemic pay. That matter was referred to our labor attorney, Michelle McNulty, who immediately contacted Garrett Mahoney from ASME. I believe that was the third attempt that she made last week to secure our first meeting. I believe Michelle indicated this morning Garrett was dealing with some illness in the family, so he circled back and he's going to be contacting his respective units to line up our entry date to begin our
Okay.
our bargaining.
I just
and-
want to go through the right channels. I'm, you know,
Right, so we followed up and we seem to hopefully establish contact to begin scheduling those collective bargaining discussions as soon as possible. I'll let you know when they start.
okay.
That is all I have on my report. Thank you, Mr.
All
Chairman.
right. Is there a reason we have attorney?
Yes, because that is the last item.
And it is.
Yes, so
You better remind me. I know it is.
yes,
New-
so we Attorney Scott Lopez contacted me this week. He has a matter that he's working on your behalf that he requests your permission to release
All right.
him from an attorney-client privilege
Okay.
on a old item that he had been working
All
on.
right,
So
I'm gonna rule that we're gonna do that under number 15. Emergency items are topics that the chair did not originally anticipate. I'm gonna go to our counsel, Scott Lopez, who's gonna make us aware, and then we'll go from there. Good afternoon.
Scott, nice to see you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. It's good seeing you again. So the reason I asked for this meeting is because, as you know, I wrote an opinion on the midday meals issue that came up recently. And my understanding is that the vendor who provided those meals to the Register of Deeds was told to contact the county about getting their bill paid. So the attorney for the vendor reached out to Mr. Cronin, and I asked Mr. Cronin to direct the attorney to me. And I spoke to him. His name is Raymond Sayeg. And I told him that I had written an opinion, and he asked for a copy of it. The opinion was sent to you under the attorney-client privilege. I believe it was shared with Register O'Donnell, who, as I see it, is also part of the county, and therefore the privilege is still protected, even though it was written to another county official. And I didn't want to disclose it to a third party without your permission. So that's why I'm here to ask for your permission if you see fit.
And you're requesting this permission, correct?
I am. I didn't want to disclose it without you hold the privilege. And I couldn't ethically disclose it without getting permission from you to do so.
Yeah,
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, fine.
okay.
Okay, do you need a vote from us to do that, Scott? Or
It's probably a good,
Yes.
to make the record clear, yes.
Yes.
all right, I'll make a motion to allow our attorney Scott Lopez to release the document which we just discussed that had previously been protected by the attorney-client privilege.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
It is a vote. Thank you. While we have you on the hook, you need anything else from Scott today? We're on his dime or our dime right now.
Well, I would suggest that we schedule another meeting for next week to discuss ongoing litigation. There's been some new developments that I'd like you to know about, but since it only happened yesterday, we couldn't get on the agenda for today.
Okay. All right. If I have no objection, I'm going to schedule an executive session with Attorney Lopez next week relative to ongoing legislation.
That'll be fine.
Sounds great.
Having said that, and if you sat through the discussion about budget next week,
Mm.
I'm going to schedule you for
Hmm.
2 p.m. because I don't expect huge budget because it's engineers, but just the same. I don't want to,
Very, very well.
it's going to be 2 PM. The
Sorry.
executive session, Scott.
Let me just make sure that 2 PM works
Unless you
for
want
me.
to listen to the county budget sessions, which are starting next week.
I would
Normally.
I prefer to pass on that.
That's fine.
I am available at 2 PM.
Okay,
All right.
okay, it is a vote. It is a
All
time.
right.
Under the same items, two things I have, you have in front of you a thank you from Dove for some federal money that we were able to give to Dove. I think we gave some to the town of Walpole and to
Yeah.
Man Health. It was not opera money. It was other than federal money, so it's nice to get a thank you. I'm in receipt of a couple of budgets. Do we have the engineer's budget yet?
We do.
We do. So we have engineer, and we have the
We have all
registry.
of them.
We have all the budget. Okay, I'm glad I asked. I'll get them out too. Now that I
You
have
find
them.
getting the budgets a couple of days ahead of time? Do you
It's
want
all
them
right.
all now? What's your pleasure? We got them all electronically and hard copy last week. I can get them all at once if you'd like.
We have them all.
Sometimes.
We don't have to-
You have them all?
Do we?
We do.
Oh, we do?
I mean, the
Okay,
sooner the
great,
better. It
great.
gives us time
Okay.
to budget.
Okay.
Budget,
And it's a
budget.
breathing, it's a
So,
working
yeah.
document. Okay,
Oh, it's very much so.
all right.
Their
No,
request.
no,
Yeah.
I opened the registers while I was here, so I want,
Mhm.
but I'm glad we have them all. That made me bring it up. Okay. I have nothing else.
If I may,
Sure.
one item, Mr. Chairman, Canton Fire Chief Duty, it's a friend of mine, approached me a couple weeks ago and we started talking about regionalization, some ideas that we could perhaps get, again, things
Mhm.
moving a certain way. And he explained to me that there is something, I never knew this, in the police side, there's a SWAT, Norfolk County SWAT team,
Yes.
in which each community sends 2 officers and they're trained and they
I
respond,
think there's a couple.
you know,
There's an Eastern.
right,
Mass one.
right, maybe 3 or 4. but-
Eastern
but-
County, yeah,
Okay,
there
so,
are.
so setting the stage, similar to that, I didn't know this. There is a, what's called a Norfolk County Tech Rescue Team, in which member departments of this team are specially trained in certain situations. Might be hazardous response, might be something else. Point is, he'd like to come in and perhaps explain the team to us, and perhaps with an eye towards, is there some way that we could maybe pick up some funding to help them for training, things like that.
Sounds like a great
So,
idea. I
It
don't,
might be, in terms of, right now, I asked him, what's the funding source now? And he said, it's not too much, but again, it's all relative. Each town pays their own. But maybe there might be a way to look at it in terms of opera or something that we can help them out.
I
with.
think it's a great idea.
All right. So I had a date of March 9, but Director Cronin told me that's a budget day for us. But the following week is an open one.
Yep.
So I'm gonna see if Chief Judy came in at
9
16.
and
Is
7, 16. Yeah,
that all right?
Yep.
No, 16?
any day's all right. I
I
mean,
mean, it wouldn't take too
we gotta
long,
manage the
but,
budget. We gotta manage the agenda, but yeah,
but the budget, probably takes 4. All right, I'll check and I'll let you know. All right, thank you.
good stuff. I don't have anything else. I'll take a motion to adjourn, and we're again meeting in full session next week with the first budget, which is going to be the county engineering department.
Right.
Joint session.
I will move we adjourn at 2:17, I believe.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
All right.
This meeting is adjourned. We're meeting next week. Thank you very